Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to have to put a trigger warning on this video because it's not going to be a video that's enjoyable to watch. There will be talk of alcohol and drug abuse and also suicide. So today is Thursday the 10th of September, which is the World Suicide Prevention Day, and I have kind of alluded to me talking about this in greater detail in previous videos. Like if you look at the one I made about Caroline Flack and being kind and online bullying and things, and what journalistic and social media can do to a person, celebrity or not, then you will understand that probably at some point this was coming. I have always been very, very open with you guys about the fact that I have mental health issues, and I think it's something that really does continue to need to be talked about. Especially where men are concerned too. I feel like our society has, I mean it's getting better, but our society kind of has this emphasis on toxic masculinity and men not being allowed to show their feelings, and a lot of people, men especially, tend to struggle in silence. So I hope that by sharing my story with you guys today, that we can all be a little bit more kind to each other, love each other, support each other, and obviously there will be links and things down below for you if you do need help, or indeed you are supporting someone who is struggling with their mental health, because I know the impact that my suicide attempts had on my family, and I will live with that guilt for the rest of my life, and it leaves an impact on your family and friends for the rest of their lives too. If you are seeing a lot of jump cuts and things, this is still really difficult for me to talk about, but I feel like it's really important for me to share it, so I apologise if I get a little bit emotional, or yeah, it's just really difficult and confronting still, even 2 years later. So you guys know that I grew up in the modelling industry. I now work as a curvy or like plus size model, although I don't consider myself to be visibly plus, because really I'm not. I'm on the much sort of smaller end, which is a shame. We still have an issue with that in the industry. But I had mental health issues probably from about the age of 12 or 13, and I was someone who used self-harm as a way to cope. Because I didn't really know what I was experiencing at that age, and I feel like although the modelling world gave me more confidence in a lot of ways, and I grew up very quickly and I had wonderful experiences, it certainly made my issues with myself probably considerably worse. I'm very lucky that I have a wonderful family and friends system around me that always kept me as grounded as they could, but the impact of some of my experiences in the industry definitely had an effect on me and my mental health as well, which is why I'm so open about talking about it today with you guys. The industry as a whole I don't think is bad, but changes need to be made. There aren't many places that you can go as a model if you feel like your agents or photographers, etc., you know, have not treated you very well. We don't have a union. We tend to be only able to go to like our bookers and such, but obviously if you're having issues with your bookers, or those are the people that you're not happy with, that can make things very tricky, because obviously there's a conflict of interest there. So although I've had a wonderful experiences growing up in the industry, I've also had some really awful ones that probably made me more ill. And as I said, I coped with my mental health issues to start with by cutting and self-harming, which is something that I think is quite common. I also went through college, again, not really kind of knowing what I was experiencing, and that I was quite ill already. I got into a friendship group where we were all kind of in a similar space, I think, and we sort of encouraged each other and were quite the party people, and so I fell into a pattern of partying, drinking, not going to my classes, and also experimenting with drugs, which I'm sure as a teen many of us have done. but I probably took it to the extreme, and I was very lucky that I chose to leave college and go straight to work, which sorted that out immediately, because obviously I would not be turning up to work with a hangover or anything like that. So I kind of used work as a form of like coping and to distract myself from what I was feeling. My depression, I don't feel like stems from any childhood trauma or anything like that, but I feel like it kind of made me feel even worse, because I was the model and my parents are still together and I have wonderful family and friends around me, and I had sort of no reason to be feeling the way that I was feeling. And I just want to tell anyone out there, if you feel the same way and you're kind of beating yourself up like I was because you think, why the hell do I feel like this? You can't help it, and it's not your fault, and you don't need to feel stupid for feeling that way. You need to talk about it with someone and get yourself some help, and that's okay to feel like that. I struggled with my mental health for a number of years, on and off. There were good phases and bad phases. I was on and off medication probably from the time I was about 17, 18, just after I left college. And a few months before I was just about to turn 25, I had a messy breakup, and no one cheated or anything like that, but I had a fallout with this person's family member, and it ended not very well, and we ended up breaking up, and I was heartbroken. And having kind of pushed all of my feelings and my problems down for many, many years, and not really had any form of like proper talking therapy or anything like that, I spiraled into an unimaginable depression, and I ended up staying up very late at my parents', who I was living with at the time, as I am now, and I was drinking very heavily at night time by myself to sleep, is how it kind of started. I thought, I'll have a drink to make me feel better, and then it was, I'll have a drink to sleep, and then a drink wasn't enough, and it was a couple, and then it was a whole bottle of wine, and then I was, you know, my behaviour was obviously being noticed by my parents, who did try to help me, but they got to a point where they didn't know what to do with me, and I would be ordering alcohol to the house, sneaking around, hiding it in my bedroom, getting rid of bottles when they wouldn't see, and all of these kind of behaviours just to try and kind of numb how I was feeling. And this culminated in the first time I overdosed. I was drinking and I grabbed whatever I could find, and I took a load of pills, and I then panicked and I woke my parents up, and we went to the hospital, and I was kept in for a number of hours, and I didn't have my stomach pumped or anything, I don't think, but I was obviously very ill, and they got someone in from like a mental health team to come and have a chat with me, and they decided that I wouldn't do it again, and that I'd obviously panicked and knew I was very silly, and that would no longer be a problem. A couple of weeks later, this kind of pattern of behaviour continued, and I did it again. Only this time they gave me a charcoal kind of drink in A&E and kept me for a couple of hours. I remember my brother, my mum and my dad were all there, because again I'd woken someone up and told them what I'd done, and again someone came to talk to me, and again they decided that I should speak to someone. They would give me a list of names or therapists that I could speak to, and that it probably wouldn't happen again. And I remember coming out and telling my parents this, and I remember them marching back through A&E doors and saying, what's it going to take for you to do something? Is she gonna have to die? After that second time, everyone was kind of on watch. My dad started working from home. I know I terrified the crap out of everyone. I don't think then I started having therapy yet, but I remember still crying myself to sleep, and I'd, you know, still be managing to get my hands on drink of some kind, and my parents had to like lock all the booze away and all sorts of awful crap went on, and I can't even believe that's me now. But it happened. So a couple weeks after that, I did the same again, and I can't tell you what happened from memory because I wasn't conscious. But what I do know is that my dad found me and he woke my mum up. Well, she was already, she said she just had a weird feeling. I don't know, this is kind of me telling you guys from what they told me, but I struggled to hear about it, so I have kind of not really heard like the full story. But my mum came down and yeah, he had said to her, I can't wake her up. And my brother was in the house, and I think he was still asleep or something until they had to ring an ambulance for me. And mum drove behind and dad went in the ambulance with me. And I can't even really have a conversation with him because I feel so terrible about him experiencing that. But I know he has told me that there was a moment in the ambulance where he thought that they were going to lose me. So I don't actually know what happened after that. I know that I woke up in the hospital, and obviously I was hooked up to all sorts of things, but this was a few hours later, so I guess I was really, really lucky. And for the next few weeks I had a lot of therapy, and my medication obviously was upped, and I gradually recovered. 2 years later, here I am. I wanted to tell you my experience. That was really hard. I guess a big part of what I hadn't mentioned was that a lot of my weight gain was not only because I grew up and I needed to change a direction, which is why I went towards the curve side of modelling, but a lot of my initial weight gain was because I wasn't happy and I was depressed and I was drinking really heavily. And when people were making comments about my weight and going, oh, you're fat now, and all this kind of stuff on YouTube videos, I am so vocal about this stuff because just like you guys didn't know that that was happening to me, you don't know what's happening to anybody else, and that is why I'm so big on kindness and not writing awful things on people's social media, because you never ever know, and that is why I am so passionate about it. I can handle that kind of stuff now, but you know, if someone had made those comments a few weeks earlier while I was still in my recovery and I had been looking at them, that could have ended really badly because I was already so ill. I don't even know how to finish this now. What I will say is that 5 months later, and I don't know whether he'll watch this or not, or whether I'll ask him not to, I met my partner Jamie, and I know that I was still really ill and probably quite difficult to deal with, and he is still here now, and I'm so lucky that he reminds me every time I'm having like a bit of a bad time, or you know, that depression kind of creeps back in. He reminds me that I'm tough and I can do it, and I am so grateful for that. And I am so grateful for my family and friends. I'm not gonna lie, there were a few friends who I think just thought that I was doing it for attention, because I was also kind of posting weird things on social media and stuff because I was ill, and I don't remember doing half of it, frankly. And funnily enough, some of those people are quite big on social media now and talk about mental health, and I just feel like it's really funny how people put on this kind of performative, we stand for mental health thing, but when it really counts, You know, people find it really difficult to deal with, and I totally understand why, but you know, if you have lost friends because of your mental health, I'm here to tell you that those are not the friends that you need to keep around you. The ones that love you to bits and understand it will always be there for you. And I am so grateful to my very small group of solid friends that love me unconditionally, and I love you guys unconditionally too, who I know will never leave me, and who were always there. My story does have a happy ending, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I wanted you to know that if you are struggling, or if someone you know is struggling, there is help out there for you, whether you are that person or whether you are supporting someone who is going through something very similar, or whether you have been touched by it, or you know, you have experienced this within your family. You can do this. It does get better, and just like me, you can be happy again. And I also want to share with you a little secret. Many of you have seen Gary and my reptile channel, and you are probably familiar with him on my Instagram and stuff. And what you probably didn't know was that a couple of months after my last attempt, the one that very nearly succeeded, my parents said that I could get him and have a bigger lizard in their house if I did all my therapy and I didn't drink anymore and I focused on getting myself well again. And so he is in fact not just a new pet, he was my recovery animal, and that is why he is so special to me, because he symbolises what I managed to achieve, and I am really proud of myself, and I'm telling you that if you're going through the same thing, you can do it too. That was really hard, and I didn't expect it to be really hard, but it was. So there will be a load of links and stuff below. This video will be monetized, but I know it will be limited because of the subject matter. But if I do make any money off of it, I will be donating that to some kind of suicide prevention organisation, because that is really important. I would normally say I hope you've enjoyed the video, but I know maybe that's a little bit odd for this one. So I just hope that my story gives you hope if you're struggling or you know someone, and remind you that if you are struggling, it's really important to keep talking. Talk to the people that you love, talk to the people that you know can support you, and you can absolutely do this. So normally we do a lot of vlogs and beauty chat and other things on here, so if you're into that, then please do hit that subscribe button, hit a thumbs up if you want to give me a pat on the back for being brave and sharing my story with you guys. I would really appreciate that. I know liking it maybe feels a little bit strange, but yeah, that's going to be it from me. I love you all very much. There is hope if you are not feeling okay, and you can do this, because I did. Okay, bye.